You hit arms every week. Barbell curls, triceps pushdowns, hammer curls, skull crushers. You walk out of the gym with that insane pump, veins popping, sleeves tighter, feeling like you're doing everything right. But then, time goes by. You snap a photo at the beach, catch a glimpse in the mirror before heading out in a tee. And suddenly, that silent frustration creeps in. Wait, where's the size? Where's the arm I thought I was building? It's there. Just barely. No lines, no density, no shape that actually turns heads. And here's the worst part. You feel like you're giving your all. You're not skipping workouts. You're not lacking effort or discipline. What's missing are the invisible tweaks that no one talks about. The ones quietly draining your gains while you grind day after day. Because the issue isn't not training enough. It's training wrong, while thinking you're doing it right. The mistakes that kill your arm gains don't scream, they whisper. Tiny flaws in execution, volume, angle, tension, that over time build an invisible wall between you and the arms you're chasing. And the craziest part? Most guys stay stuck in these mistakes for years, wasting energy, time, and focus on training that just doesn't deliver. But that changes today. In this video, I'm breaking down 8 of the dumbest mistakes that are stopping your arms from growing, and how to fix each one fast. No fluff, no generic advice. This is about giving you clarity, so you can walk into your next workout knowing exactly what to fix, and finally start seeing real growth. Quick heads up though, you're probably making at least one of these mistakes without realizing it. And fixing just that one could unlock a whole new level of growth in your biceps and triceps, the kind you've never felt before. So stay with me to the end. Because the last mistake? It's the most common among experienced lifters. And it's the main reason their arms stay flat, even after years of consistent training. If this is already hitting close to home, hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next might just change the way you train forever. Mistake 1. Ignoring the eccentric phase. Picture this. You're in front of the mirror, doing curls, veins popping, biceps screaming. It looks like everything's on point. But if someone slowed down a clip of your set, what would they see? You explode the weight up like a beast, and then let it drop like it's nothing. That fast, uncontrolled drop is one of the most overlooked mistakes killing your gains. Because most lifters forget this crucial fact. Muscle grows more during the eccentric phase, the lowering part of the movement. When you control that descent, when you fight gravity instead of letting it win, you're basically telling your muscles, buckle up, you're about to come back stronger. Studies show that up to 70% of hypertrophy stimulus comes from the eccentric phase. Let that sink in. 70. So if you're skipping that part, you're leaving more than half your results on the table. What's wild is that this mistake is more common among experienced lifters. Why? Because we get obsessed with feeling strong, moving more weight, chasing progress. And somewhere along the way, control turns into momentum. But here's another piece most people miss. When you ignore the eccentric, you're not just hurting growth, you're putting your joints at risk. Your elbows, your shoulders, they start taking unnecessary impact. And that's when those nagging aches show up and never quite leave. Want to fix it fast? Drop the weight by 10 to 20% on your next arm session. Then lower every rep slowly, 2 to 3 seconds. Feel the muscle work on the way down. Imagine the dumbbell trying to escape, and your job is to fight it with your biceps or triceps, not your ego. It's gonna burn like crazy. But for the first time, your arms will actually be working, not just moving. Your ego might panic. You'll think, "This feels too easy." But your muscles will finally be doing what they're supposed to do. And when that new density starts showing up in the mirror, when your arms look fuller, tighter, with that roundness that fills out even loose shirts, you'll realize the real growth started the moment you slowed down. Mistake 2. Cutting your range of motion. Short, you curl the bar up, but before you hit full contraction, you're already lowering. Or on triceps, you stop halfway down and bounce right back up. Seems like a minor detail, but that tiny shortcut is quietly robbing your arms of real growth. Here's the truth. If your arms don't train through a full range, they won't grow to their full shape. What happens is this. You build some size in one part of the muscle, but leave the other part underdeveloped. You've seen it. Someone with a peaky bicep but no thickness. Or a tricep that's flat from the side, missing that round horseshoe shape. Why? Because half reps skip the stretch. And stretch, controlled, intentional stretch, is where the magic happens. That deep stretch under tension activates more fibers, causes more micro tears, and triggers more growth across the entire muscle. And there's another layer. Short range isn't just bad for gains. It's bad for your joints. You start overloading small areas, compensating with helper muscles, and setting yourself up for overuse pain. So how do you fix it? Start with humility. Lower the weight enough so you can own the movement, every inch of it. On curls, that means lowering until your arms are nearly straight, without locking out and keeping tension. Then curling up all the way to the top, squeezing hard at the peak. On triceps, let the bar or rope drop until you feel that deep stretch. Then press it back with force, without snapping your elbows. Still not sure if you're doing it right? Film yourself from the side. If your reps don't clearly show a beginning, a middle, and an end, you're leaving growth on the table. And remember, mastering full range isn't just about clean form. It's about building visible control. The kind of control that turns into size and shape that stands out. Before chasing heavier weights, do yourself a favor. Master every single rep. That's what separates average arms from arms that turn heads. Mistake 3. Training arms like they're just one muscle. When people say arm day, they usually mean doing 2 or 3 variations, a couple curls, a couple pushdowns, and calling it done. But that mindset, it's holding your arms back, because your arms aren't one single muscle. They're a collection of muscles, each one with a different role, different strength curve, and different response to stimulus. Some parts need deep stretch. Others respond best to peak contraction. Some only light up when you adjust the angle just right. Ignoring this is how so many lifters end up with arms that look unfinished. They're strong, sure, but the shape's not there. One part pops, the other stays flat. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because they're stuck repeating the same movements, the same angles, the same patterns. The muscle gets bored, and when the muscle's bored, it stops growing. Want that dense, complete look? It doesn't take a million exercises. It takes strategic focus. Start by asking, what's missing? No base on the biceps? Start with incline curls. Triceps look flat from the side? Prioritize overhead work for the long head. Every arm session should be built around what you're lacking, not just what you like doing. When you stop treating your arms like a block of muscle and start training each region with intention, that's when everything changes. That sleeve-filling, well-rounded arm, it starts showing up the moment you stop chasing pump. and start chasing balance. Mistake 4. Letting your shoulders and forearms take over. You've been there. You finish an arm session and think, "Man, my shoulders are fried and my forearms are smoked." But your biceps? Your triceps? Barely a whisper. That's not because you trained soft. It's because you didn't train smart. Your body's sneaky like that. When form slips, even just a little, it pulls in backup from wherever it can. And guess who usually shows up first? Shoulders and forearms. Start a curl by swinging your wrist? Forearms doing the work. Let your elbows drift forward on pushdowns? Shoulders now the star of the show. And what does that create? A workout that feels hard, burns a lot, but doesn't actually build anything. You're exhausted, but not growing. You're sweating, but not shaping. And that's why you see guys with big forearms, round delts, but tiny biceps that look like they skipped gym day. The fix? Start with precision. Every curl starts with elbows locked to your sides, shoulders retracted, and wrists neutral. Every triceps move starts with elbows fixed in place, chest up, zero swing. Because once you eliminate the cheats, the target muscle finally has to work. And here's the kicker. Not only does this unlock growth, it also protects your joints. Most of those annoying elbow and shoulder aches. They start with sloppy form and overused support muscles. When you train with intent, when every rep is dialed in to hit the right spot, you stop wasting effort and start multiplying results. So next time you train arms, don't just go heavy. Go accurate. That's what turns effort into evolution. Mistake 5. Training with the wrong volume. Too much or too little. Some guys hit arms once a week with 3 exercises and call it a day. Feels like enough. Got the pump, looked good, job done. Others? They go full overkill. 10, 12 different exercises. Every curl variation under the sun. Every triceps movement they can think of. In both cases, though, progress stalls. Because arm growth isn't just about training. It's about training with the right volume. Too little, and you're not sending a strong enough signal. The muscle doesn't get challenged, doesn't adapt, doesn't grow. Too much, and you overwhelm the system. Recovery tanks, strength drops, soreness lingers for days, and quality crashes in the next session. The sweet spot is different for everyone, but the principle's the same. Enough to stimulate. Not so much that you crash. Some lifters thrive on 2 focused arm sessions a week. Others sprinkle arms into push-pull days with smart intensity. The key is watching the signs. If you're sore but can still train again in 2 or 3 days, good. If your arms feel wrecked for a week, pull back. If they never feel sore or pumped, push a little more. It's not about doing what worked for that guy. It's about dialing in what works for you. And here's the real unlock. Less volume, more intention often beats high volume with lazy execution. Because when every set is focused, every rep is controlled, every contraction is felt. You don't need 20 sets. You just need the right 10. That's when the gains kick in. Not from doing more, but from doing it right. Mistake 6. Doing the same exercises on the same day. Every week Monday hits. And you already know the drill. Barbell curls, rope pushdowns, hammer curls, skull crushers. Same order, same reps, same weights. It's comfortable. It feels productive. But that routine? It's secretly killing your progress. Muscles grow when they're challenged, when they're hit from new angles, with new tempos, and different stress. But If your arm workout's on repeat like a Spotify playlist, your body adapts fast. And that pump you feel? It tricks you, makes you think you're progressing, when all you're doing is rehearsing the same session every week. The fix doesn't mean reinventing your entire plan. It just means shaking things up strategically. Swap the order of exercises, change your grip, adjust your rest times, alter the tempo, slow negatives, pause at the top, stretch at the bottom. Suddenly, the same muscle is forced to relearn and respond. Another sneaky trick? Switch the day. Always train arms on Monday when you're fresh and fired up. Try hitting them midweek instead, after a lighter day, when your focus is sharper and recovery patterns are different. Even that small change in timing can wake your muscles up. Because here's the truth. Your body is a master of adaptation. If it predicts the workout, it stops growing from it. But if you keep it guessing, it keeps evolving. So stop treating your arm day like a script. Start treating it like a challenge. That's how you break through plateaus. Not by doing more, but by doing different. Mistake 7. No real progression. You show up, you train hard, you finish your arm session with a solid pump and leave the gym thinking, that was a good one. But then a week goes by, then a month. And when you look in the mirror, your arms still look exactly the same. That's not because you're not working hard, it's because you stopped progressing. And I'm not talking about effort, I'm talking about stimulus. You're lifting the same weight, doing the same reps, resting the same amount, and moving in the same exact way. Every single time. And here's the truth most people ignore. If nothing changes in the way you train, nothing's going to change in the way you look. Your body is a master at adapting. In the beginning, even a basic curl shocks the system. But after a while, it needs something more to grow. That more doesn't always mean heavier weight. Sometimes it's about controlling the eccentric better, or pushing for an extra rep with the same load, or resting a little less between sets, or simply focusing harder on the muscle and less on just moving the weight. It's about making the set more difficult, in any way that forces the muscle to adapt. That's the missing piece for a lot of lifters. They go through the motions, thinking the pump means progress. But a pump without progression is just temporary. It fades fast, and so do your results. You need to make your training harder in some way, week after week. Track your lifts. Remember what you did last time. Try to beat it, even if it's just by 1 rep or 1 second of extra tension. Because when your training becomes intentional like that, the results stop being a mystery. They become a reflection of your strategy. Progression is what separates effort from evolution. And the truth is simple. If your workout this week isn't harder than the last, even just a little, your body has no reason to grow. Mistake 8. Treating arm training as a low priority. This one's sneaky because it doesn't show up in your form or your program. It shows up in your mindset. A lot of guys say they want bigger arms, but the way they train says something else. They tack arms onto the end of a chest or back day. They squeeze in a few quick sets just to get a pump. They treat biceps and triceps like accessories, not like muscles that deserve focused work. Then months go by, and nothing changes. It's not because they don't have the genetics. It's not because they're not working hard. It's because arms are never the main event. Think about it. When was the last time you walked into the gym fully committed to building your arms? Not just getting a pump, I mean really focused. Dialed in on every movement, planning the volume, the angles, the progression, like you would with legs or chest. If you want arms that actually stand out, Arms that make people do a double take, even when you're wearing sleeves. You've got to stop treating them like an afterthought. Make them a priority. Give them real training days. Hit them twice a week if you can recover from it. Use different rep ranges, tempos, and levels of intensity. Because when you finally start treating arm day like it matters, your arms respond like they matter. The reality is, most guys training arms for years still have beginner arms, not because they don't put in the work, but because they never truly prioritized it. So if your arms haven't changed much lately, ask yourself honestly, have you really been giving them the attention they deserve? When you shift that priority, the results follow fast. Let's be real. Your arms aren't stuck because you're not training hard enough. They're stuck because of the small, almost invisible mistakes that sneak into your routine and stay there, quietly holding you back. It's the rushed reps, the partial range, the lack of muscle connection, the recycled workouts, the stalled progression, the low priority. Each one might feel small on its own, but together, they build a wall between the work you're doing and the results you're chasing. The good news? Now you know exactly where the problem is, and more importantly, how to fix it. You don't need a brand new program. You don't need to start from zero. Just pick one mistake from this video. Fix it with intention. Then watch how fast your arms start to respond differently. More tension, more soreness, more fullness, and finally, more visible growth. Because the truth is, most guys training arms hard still look soft. Not because they're lazy, but because they're stuck doing things that no longer work. Now that you've got clarity, staying the same isn't an option anymore. So tell me, what's the one thing you're changing in your training after this? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear what clicked for you. And hey, if this video gave you at least one aha moment, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's keep building this together. Oh, and if you know someone who hits arms every week but still looks the same, send this video their way. Sometimes all it takes is hearing the right truth at the right time. And boom! The gains finally show up.